fully realize that there's no reason to do a video on this, but I don't have a lot of fresh ideas right now, and after putting up that video that I was actually really proud of about parents and telling your parents about furries in a way that's not scary, I needed something that was kind of a mental departure and kind of dumb, so here's your dose of kind of dumb and why furries tend to wind up in cringe compilations a lot. So somewhere between filming the Facebook ads video and working on this one and editing it together, I noticed something kind of weird happening over the weekend. So I posted the parents video on like Friday, kind of late at night. Normal. Usually a video like that gets 2,000 views, maybe 9 if I'm really, really lucky, but certainly not more than that. But bizarrely, this video got 50,000 views, and I didn't really notice until my ad revenue spiked. Almost overnight, my follower count spiked, and I was very confused. I thought it was just a run-of-the-mill old video telling younger furries about how to tell their parents that they're furry, which admittedly most people didn't see the point of. Now, it may seem dumb because it's not like coming out as gay or transgender or any of those, but for people in the furry community, telling people you care about that you're furry still isn't super fun. Most of the time, you have cool friends who don't really care and are completely fine with it and don't see anything wrong with it. But because of the stigma that's associated with the culture, sometimes you get the friend, mom, dad, legal guardian issue of them Googling it, hitting Urban Dictionary, and just assuming that you're a sex-having, bestiality-loving zoophile, which isn't really the case. So I made that basic little video because 2 of my friends actually got disowned from their families for being furry. Not cool. My family's pretty chill, they don't really get it, but I basically made that video to address that. And the responses I got were pretty cool. I had some parents actually emailing me questions about the furry fandom, and I had some really great comments like this one, basically from parents who had accepted their kids and, saying this is a good educational video that was perfectly safe for parents. But what I also got was garbage. So on the heels of a bunch of young furries thanking me for posting the video and making something that was pretty tame and easy to show to a parent, The trolls arrived. I guess anytime you have a breakout video, no matter who you are, whether you're furry or not, trolls are going to be a real part of YouTube now and forever. Now, normally I wouldn't really care. I wouldn't really give a shit. And I'd just be like, meh, whatever, trolls are trolls. But because this video was supposed to be for parents, the last thing I really wanted was parents watching this video, scrolling down and realizing just how hated our community is by other communities. I even had anime fandom people and Sonic fandom people and Brony fandom people chiming in and spewing hate, and it was honestly very bizarre. Here's a few winners that I deleted. I don't have all of them saved. Honestly, if I did save all of the hate spew comments, we'd be here for a while. But after all of that fanfare and basically shit, I decided to make something dumb. So here's something dumb, because I spent most of my weekend fielding hate spew shit comments. Here you go. So anyone in this community has probably seen plenty of their favorite fursuiters wind up in a cringe comp. It happens a lot. Whether it's telephone, Wi-Fi, Majira, like a fox. Some of these people that put out great content tend to find themselves in a bit of an icky situation when they wind up in someone's online joke. It's not necessarily a bad thing. Some of these are pretty well edited and actually kind of funny, but why do we wind up in so many cringe compilations? Well, a big part of that is context. When you take stuff out of context, it can make it inherently funny. Like, say, a bunch of furries jumping around in a ball pit Could be completely innocent, but throw some inappropriate music on it, and you've got something extra cringy. Similarly, a lot of people who do vlogs on the internet, especially if they're out of suit, or even if they're in suit, are often targets of this because it's easy to make fun of someone we don't know, and it's easy to make fun of someone who may have some difficulty speaking or have issues communicating clearly. I will be the first to admit that if you've seen me on a live stream, I tend to stumble over words, and that's because I tend to think a little quicker than my mouth can move, so occasionally you'll get a brain fart. And a real good brain fart, when edited down and auto-tuned and edited in such a way that there's a lot of random cacophony going on, usually winds up being a meme or winds up in a cringe compilation. Now, where this gets really tricky is in the activities of some of the older furries. Older furries that like to do some of the huff videos where they pose suggestively. I totally don't watch those, nope. Not at all. But if you are doing one of those videos where you're being suggestive, you're probably gonna wind up in a cringe comp. Because your suit's cringy? Nope. Because you as a person are terrible? Not likely. It's usually just because they find what you're doing very weird. They don't have the context to understand why you're doing it. And most of the time, it looks a little cringy to them just because they don't really know what's going on. Heck, some furry videos that I watch are kind of cringy because I don't really know what's going on. But that's just one reason we tend to find ourselves in cringe compilations quite a lot. Memes. The wonderful gift of the internet that keeps on giving. Sometimes we wind up in a meme either because of something that's happened just in general in the news, whether it be the gas attack at Midwest Fur Fest a couple years back, or a furry appearing on Dr. Phil, or My Strange Addiction, or CSI. Anytime you get one of those kind of situations where a furry doesn't appear in the best context, you're gonna get some memes, a lot of them. Now, I've called her out in other videos, but Abergwine does a pretty good job of highlighting some of these pop culture moments that define some pretty weird memes. In terms of memes that I know particularly well, Rule 34 has to be one of the most prevalent, whether you're an artist genuinely drawing something for your own entertainment that could be construed as sexual and inappropriate, or you're a 4chan person who has haplessly stumbled upon it. Rule 34 has definitely become a meme with pretty much everything. It's older, it's not as relevant anymore, but you can bet it's probably why some of your friends have a very odd view of furries. Another reason that furries wind up in memes is because we're weird. We'll admit it, we are pretty weird. Some of us fursuit, some of us don't, some of us are Therians, some of us aren't. I am not. Some of us also are bronies, and goodness knows the internet loves bronies, and yes, while it might be super fun to hang out with your friends and sing the My Little Pony theme song in McDonald's, just be aware that it's gonna be a little weird to people around you, and it's gonna become meme gold for anyone on YouTube with some decent editing skills. A lot of times when we do wind up in these internet compilations, there's a lot of ignorance going along with it too. Most people that make these memes or put us in cringe compilations or make posts about us being really cringy don't really know who we are and don't really know anyone who's furry, or they do and they're not friends with them anymore. Ignorance is kind of bliss here, so if you don't know what you're doing can be hurtful, that can be a big part of it. Although sometimes you're fully aware of how harmful and rude and mean you're being, and that can be just as bad. A good example of full well knowing that what you're doing is cringy and bad and is pretty much going to guarantee cringe is that video Crack. That video that happened that Kama Rovac covered and I covered another music video that I did. Ugh, redundancy. Basically, the people who put together that video were fully aware that it was going to be another cringy moment in pop culture and were just trying to cash in on the laughs. And ignorance was kind of bliss for them. They went around trying to get furries to watch the video, and as you'd expect, furries were kind of repulsed. An instance of where it's not really meant to be intentionally cringy is Coldplay when they used elephants in that music video. I'm sure they weren't trying to stir up a whole bunch of memes, neither was The Fox by Elvis. They were just making fox noises and making a goofy video, and furries happened to be in it. So whether you're fully aware of what you're doing and how it can be misconstrued as hurtful, or just blissfully unaware and having yourself a giggle, it's probably a contributing factor to why you're putting furries in cringe comps, and can't say I blame you. Now, as tempting as it is to blame all cringe comps on trolls on the internet, little kids that don't really get it and want to be edgy, and anti-Tumblr warriors, there's also some things that we do ourselves that get us smack dab in the middle of a cringe compilation, and that's actually being cringy. What do I mean? So, while it might be a funny inside joke to run up to people and jokingly yell daddy, or oh my god, let's yiff, or I want to eat your soul, or really anything that if you didn't have the context for it would just be very strange, or even if you did would be very strange, that's probably gonna wind up on a cringe comp. I can guarantee it, almost 100% I can guarantee doing that is going to get you cringed. But there's also things that we just do that are inherently cringy, whether we mean to or not. Nose booping, not so cringy. Ooh, what's this? I don't even know if I said that correctly. God, I'm old. Maybe not cringy if you're not holding one of the signs that says, notices your bulge. That's cringy. Another one is trying to be edgy for the sake of being edgy. I talked about it in my video about furry raiders, but posting things about Hitler probably going to get you cringed. Posting really saucy comments about, oh, I don't know, bestiality and wanting to bang your dog? A, that's probably illegal where you live. It's illegal where I live. It's not something you should do, and it's bad, so just don't. Another thing that tends to happen that's really cringy is trying to make a joke and it not being funny. I talked about this in the 2 Griffin video. If you're going for shock comedy and you want to tell that really edgy joke that you think has a nice big old punchline on the end of it, but you kind of have to be a furry to get it, it might wind up cringy. It might fall flat with the non-furs that are in your general area, vicinity, or have a camera open. Additionally, telling jokes that don't really require being a furry to get the butt of, sometimes those fall flat too. Like I'd said with Stu Griffin, some of his jokes, not so funny, pretty edgy, kind of get a little bit hyperbolic and don't end up being funny, and you mix that with a 12-year-old that's using YouTube and has decided that he is going to exact his revenge on furries by making a cringe comp, that joke is probably going to make the cut. Probably. Additionally, if you're in a fursuit and you're doing really weird shit, that's probably going to get you in there too. Even if you don't think what you're doing is cringy, there's possibly a chance that it could be cringy. How do you prevent what you're doing from being cringy? There's not really a 100% foolproof method, but phone a friend is not a bad option. Run it by some friends, also a good option. Google it and see if it's already been done and put in a cringe comp. Usually works. But just use your best judgment, I think, is the best advice there. Through some bizarre voodoo magic, no. Cupcake has never wound up in a cringe comp, and neither has Helly. I'm gonna go ahead and blame that on the fact that I only have about 6,000 subscribers, and on average my videos don't get any higher than 27,000 views. Still a lot, but compared to a Majira, or a Telephone, or a Picari, or like a Fox, My videos aren't that big. My channel's not that big, so I've managed to fly under the cringy radar for a bit. But I'm sure that'll change as I continue to grow, so don't worry, kids. At some point, I'm more than certain I'm gonna wind up in one of these things. Well, you could get angry, and you could ask the person to take you out of the comp, but understand that on YouTube, for them to take you out means re-uploading the video all over again, and most of us don't particularly want to do that. We're not a big fan of going and editing an entire video for one person, but probably the best thing you can do is just have a giggle at it. Cringe comps happen, life happens, they're not that big of a deal really, and while they're silly, and sure you might get some internet hate for making this goofy compilation, it's honestly not really going to affect you. I haven't heard of anyone getting harassed or bullied or, personally attacked after appearing in one of these. The worst I think I've ever seen is Cringe Wars showing 2 videos from furries, and honestly, one of them was all the single furries, which, as a furry, I find cringy. So, doesn't really affect me that much, doesn't really bother me that much, shouldn't really affect you that much, shouldn't really bother you that much either. Cringe comps happen, and that's just the internet, kids. If you wind up in one, hey, repost it if you feel like it, have a giggle, and shout out some of the other people who made it in. Instead of treating it as a negative thing, let's just look at it as what it is. Kind of a funny gaffe made by someone on the internet that you just happened to co-star in. No big deal. And that's just my quick take on cringe comps. I hope you liked it. I realize that there's not a lot of videos lately with Cupcake in them. I'm currently cleaning her up, and because I have a small apartment, it takes a little bit of time. So I apologize if you haven't seen Cupcake in a couple of videos. It's a little hard to film when you're working a 9 to 5 and you come home and it's already so dark that your video looks like crap because everything's grainy and gross. So I promise there'll be better videos where I'm actually in suit talking soon. But until then, I hope this was just a fun little ditty that you had a giggle at. If not, meh, I tried. Anyways, have a great day. Alright, so, given what happened with the parents video, I have decided to get a little bit more picky with my comments. So, if you notice that your comment does not get responded to right away, or doesn't even make it on the video, there is a reason for that. I've implemented a whole butt-ton of keywords to hopefully filter out the crap that I basically got on the last video. So I am really, really sorry if you leave me a comment and it doesn't make it in. Just send me a quick message and then repost the comment and I'll do my best to do it. I did not think I would get over 50,000 views, which I now believe may even be as high as 60 since I edited the first half of this video. Holy crud. But yeah, in order to keep jerks out of the comments, I had to do a whole lot of back-end work. So if you want to leave nasty, horrific comments on my videos, please be aware that it's going to be a lot harder to do so because I added a bunch of keywords and I spend a lot of my day deleting the shit that you guys leave. So yeah, please don't take it personally if your comment doesn't make it. I had to do some very rapid cleaning on the last one. I'd really rather not do it in the future. Thanks!